Hello. How is everyone? Congrats on your first Emmy. I wanted to do something a little different today just because I am kind of like in one of those moods. And I also wanted to make some long form content, so I felt like this would be a really good like clickbaity title, I guess, for a video. um But yeah, I used to be a fursuit maker from probably 2015 to 2018 or 2019. I did offer commissions. I am the father to two uh fursuits that other people have. No, sorry, three. Three. Yeah. Four. Four. Two of them were originally mine and I sold them, and then two of them were commissions. So, um, I know that there's a lot that has changed in recent years. Back whenever I was making, they didn't have kimono suits, which I'll talk about that. I actually have a kimono suit, um, and I have a regular suit as well, through, sorry, I forgot the maker's name. One and Only. Yeah, that's the one. And it's a bunny. He's a bunny. Anyways, let's go ahead and start. Uh, Apologies in advance. My ad blocker does like to stutter whenever it's blocks the ad.
Pursuit making tip. I use calm mats for the bottom. It's way more durable than the soft foam mats commonly used.
Okay, so right off the bat, this is such a good idea. I don't know why we didn't think about that whenever I was making. Because whenever I was making, it was standard to use the like kids floor foam mats, like the Eva foam for the bottom of fursuit feet. Um and over time that does degrade, and it also isn't very slip resistant. I feel like this is a lot better of a solution, honestly. I don't that's really um that's actually ingenious.
It also takes to glue very well.
Yeah, I can imagine it does. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit.
And here have one legging.
Okay, so I really like how clean their embroidering is. Um, you can see it's like the same width all the way around. They probably used a machine for this. Um, it just looks really clean. I really like it. One of my favorite parts of making fursuits was making the mouth. Um, I really, really enjoyed the tedious nature of like making teeth and like gums and stuff. I hand sewed all of my teeth and all of my gums. I didn't use like resin or anything. Yeah. It's just it's really fun to me. We used felt whenever I was making, but Minky also works, yeah. I feel like Minky would hold up better over time. It is a little bit hard to work with, though, if you're a newbie. Yeah, so you can see they used a sewing machine. So I will say, with Fursuits, I tended to not use Velcro very much because Velcro has the tendency to degrade over time and gather like little fur scraps and stuff, little pieces of lost fur. Um, so over time the Velcro would no longer be sticky. I liked to use snaps, like the little snaps like on a shirt, like on a kid's shirt. Yeah. I feel like those were a lot better of a an attachment system than Velcro, but Velcro also works. Velcro is so valid. Um it's also easier to attach than snaps are. Snaps kind of have to be hand sewn in. So,
One of the things that I don't ever see myself learning to machine sew is hand paw fingers. Hand sewing doesn't require the big seam allowance that machine sewing typically does, and it allows me to sew in tight places. The process also doesn't take as long for me anymore. It used to take me hours, but now it's about 20 minutes per paw.
okay. So, I do have something to say about this. I grew up hand sewing. I didn't learn to use a machine very well until I was probably an adult. I knew how to use it, but I didn't really use it on a daily basis until I was already an adult. Um but I hand sewed like every single day. I was a professional cosplayer before I was um uh, a fursuit maker. I was through a modeling agent. Um but yeah, I do think you have a lot more control with hand sewing, and I think that over time, hand sewn parts are going to hold up a lot longer than machine sewn parts. However, there's a caveat to this. Um, if you have taken the time and like years of experience with using a machine, I feel like you can make things to the same quality or better, durability wise, as hand sewn. I didn't believe that back whenever I was making actively. Um, I genuinely didn't think that machine sewn parts were going to hold up as well. But I do believe now that it's a bit difficult to learn how to make durable seams with a machine, but it can be done, especially with practice. And there's some makers that are getting so much practice, right? Especially on like Instagram now. I know that fursuit makers are getting um a lot of like traffic on Instagram. So,
A frequent question that I get on my videos is, how do I get things done so quickly? So I'm a full-time
practice.
maker. I work full days
Yeah,
in fursuits, which
you get faster
obviously
with
speeds
practice.
things up, and I have a lot of experience.
Yep.
I've been making fursuits since 2018. I've made 37 heads in total,
Oh,
which
look
means
at you
I've had
go.
a lot of time to streamline my processes and refine them. Some processes, like hand sewing, become almost automatic after you've done them long enough.
I agree.
Practice
Yeah.
makes perfect does seem like a tired phrase at this point, but it does ring true.
It does kind
For
of
this
become
character that
like
I'm
a
currently working on, the character has hair that is flowing down, like
it does kind of become like a it becomes natural to you over time to just hand sew. Sorry, one of my eyes itches a lot today. um
this. But as you can see, I have patterned it to flow upwards. There is a reason for this. If I take my slicker brush and I just brush the hair downwards like this, obviously I'll do it a bit neater when I'm not using a camera. The backwards brushing makes the hair look bigger. The fur that I have used when laying in the correct pile direction, looks quite flat, and I wanted this hair to stand out and look a lot longer, and this does just that.
So, I do have a concern about this. um, if you're brushing faux fur backwards, over time you're gonna be more likely to have fallout because of how the fur attaches itself into the backing of the fabric, like the actual fabric part. Um, I do worry about matting. I do worry about the fur over time starting to lay flat in the direction that the fur should be going, right? Instead of the way that you made the fur go. Like you can see it's going so the way she laid it is or the way they laid it, sorry, is they laid it this way, right? That is the direction that the pile is going. Um And so if they brush this direction, it's going to look fluffier. That, in theory, makes sense. But I do worry about the longevity of that suit. I worry about um, how long it holds up to normal wear and tear, as opposed to if you were to um, lay down the pile in this direction with the head shape. Does that make sense? Because I know one of the things they taught us early on was, don't brush your fursuit in the opposite direction because it could damage the fur over time. So I kind of wonder um, how long this actually holds up. I would love to know. If this creator is watching this at some point, because I'm going to upload this to YouTube, if this creator Chaotic Creations is watching this, let me know. I genuinely want to know how well fur that is brushed in the opposite direction holds up over time. There we go.
Let's talk thread sculpting. People on Twitter really liked my thread sculpted teeth, and I mean really liked, so I thought I'd show you.
Oh, this is actually what I did whenever I started making for other people. I thread sculpted. It's so fun to me. It's very tedious but fun.
How I made them. I make a pattern like this and draw it out onto my scuba fabric. You could use other fabric.
Oh, she uses scuba fabric.
I include the individual teeth bumps on the pattern, but when I draw them out onto the fabric, I straighten them out like this. Next, I fold the fabric over and pin it, ready for sewing. I machine sew the teeth along the lines. Machine sewing teeth is absolutely one of my favourite parts.
I hand sewed, but that's neither here nor there.
And then I turned it inside out. Next up, I have to stuff them. And I mean stuff them full, real full. Make sure that shit is absolutely compact. I roll the stuffing into little balls with my hands to make sure they're all compacted, and I use a pencil to help me squish everything down. Closing off the top as I go was really helpful too. You want as much stuffing in there as possible, otherwise your sculpting is going to cause wrinkles. Now I'm roughly closing off the top with a blanket stitch. Using a pen, I mark where I want my teeth to go, just along where the blanket stitching is. Now it's the exciting part, the sculpting.
So the thing that she just did with the pen was called registration marks. What that does is it allows you to to apply the piece that you're making into the fursuit head exactly where it's supposed to go. Registration marks are super, super important. I used way too many of them on my duct tape dummies. But it just makes a cleaner product.
I push the needle into one of the markers and pull it all the way through. I then bring the thread over the teeth like a giant whip stitch and push the needle through again.
Oh.
I then pull it tight until I've got the desired effect and then repeat on the same marker.
Oh my god, that is so much... Hold on. That is so much easier than what I did. Oh my god, that's so cool. That is so much easier than the way I did it. Um, I used a straight stitch all the way down the length, like this way. Um, which gets the same effect, but I feel like hers looks cleaner. That's very interesting.
You don't want to snap that thread. I recommend doubling up your thread for some extra strength.
Yeah, I do worry about the
Once
thread
you've done
snapping.
that, repeat with the other teeth. With this method, rather than cutting off and tying the thread every time, I just use one continuous piece for the entire.
Okay, so that maybe they haven't had an issue with it, maybe it's me overthinking, but I do worry about the tension of the thread. If you're using one continuous piece of thread for the whole thing. Um, I think over time that thread is going to degrade. It's going to loosen, and then you're not going to have the same effect anymore, and you're going to have to repair it. Um, and your normal fursuit owner isn't going to know how to repair this kind of thing. Um, so then it would have to be shipped back, and I worry that this is more of an art choice and less of a making a product that lasts choice, but I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. Um, yeah, I guess it also depends on what kind of thread you're using. Um, I used, the most expensive that I could get, like, cotton thread. Just because I knew that it would stand up against, like, the test of time, and you're putting a lot of strain onto your stitches, when you're wearing a fursuit. So.
Thing. That exposed thread at the bottom would be covered up along with the blanket stitch, so it doesn't really matter if it's there. I hope you enjoyed this mini tutorial of sorts. I hope it helps. This is a really useful way of doing teeth. I highly recommend that you give it a go.
Whoa! Hold on! That's so cool. I want to see how this turns out. Like, those fur squares are so small. I want to know if this is going to be shaved down. Um, Even if it's not shaved down, it's still gonna look really cool. Um, but this, oh my god, this had to have taken so much time and effort. I am just in awe, honestly. That's wild. Yeah, you'd have to hand sew that. There's no way you'd put that through a machine. Oh my god. Hold on, let me go back. Yeah, you can see even though it's long pile, you can still see like the the edges are really clean. It looks a little blurry because the pile is long. Imagine if you used this on like a full head and you had like shaved parts. Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Alright, I'm gonna help you out because I had the same issue
Oh my god, that fursuit head is so cute. I'm sorry. That head is so cute. Continue.
when I tried making his ears. What you'll want to do is when doing the foam, you want to do the ears so they're stood up.
Okay.
Once you have your stood up foam ears, you want to go a certain way down and trim the top of the foam ear off.
Okay.
I went about that far down, but it depends what look you want. I also did it slanted.
Yeah.
And this will allow this part to hang over And then what you want to do is put coins or something heavy and weighted in the tip of the ears so that they're actually bouncy.
Yeah, that's actually pretty similar to how I made bent ears. The only difference is that I didn't cut out the full ear shape. I just went ahead and did the base shape, and I cut it at a slant and stuff. And yeah, cutting it at a slant like that will allow your ears to look more natural. They flop more naturally. And adding something heavy into the tip right here, um, I think I used rare earth magnets whenever I did it because that's what I had on hand. Um, and also that allows you to put like piercings on later if you wanted to. Um, yeah, this is actually pretty similar to what I did.
But yeah, hope this helps.
Also, those markings were so clean. Congrats. Okay, so this is actually pretty similar to how I made fursuit teeth, except I didn't go like all the way up and make like this part of the jaw. Um I went up and like around each tooth with gums. Um kind of like this here. Um and each tooth would have its own gum line. And then I would install each tooth individually. Wow, that looks so much better with the full jaw set though. With like the roof of the mouth and stuff. That looks really good. I do worry with that much fabric inside how the airflow would be. If you don't wear fursuits, um, one of the things that you have to worry about is airflow. Um, how much air are you getting in? Are you getting fresh air in, or are you getting like filtered through fabric air in? And the difference between the two can, um, like make it so you can't fursuit for as long at conventions or events, right? Because uh, imagine you're like just breathing in fresh air. It's fine, right? Um, well, imagine you're breathing through like, I don't know, like a pillowcase. Um, like a really threadbare pillowcase. Um, you're getting some air in, but is it good air, right? Um, and there's things you can do to make the airflow better. You can add fans into your fursuit. Back whenever I was making we actually used like computer fans, and we'd uh like hardwire them into external batteries, and that's how we did it. Um but I know nowadays there's like some people make plushies that have fans built into them, so it looks like your plushie can be like the shape of a soda can or something, right? And the fan, the battery operated fan, is like on the top of the soda can, so you can look like you're drinking soda when you're actually just getting some fresh air into your head. It's wild. It's really cool. Also, I really like the art style, like the shape of that head. Oh, that's foam. That's. Hold on. Is that sheet foam? Hold on. I thought that was expanding foam. No, that is like upholstery foam. How did they get it so smooth? That's wild. That's like so much skill.
Situations bring
Okay. Yeah, no, I have no problems with that. Oh my god, that suit is so cute. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Look at. Ah! I love kimono suit bases. They're so cute. If they're done right, they're so cute. With kimono suits, though, you do run the risk of, so kimono suit bases, they're either 3D printed, usually, or, you're getting it from China, essentially, because kimono suits are mass-produced, which people have issues with that. It's whatever. I don't think it's as much of an issue as people make it out to be. And I will die on that hill. I think it's gatekeeping. I think it's gatekeeping people who can't afford like a $1,000 suit. I really do. Um, I have a kimono suit. I also have a regular suit as well. Um, this does look like it is a base that was 3D printed. I can tell because um the edge around the eyebrows, I almost guarantee I know what pattern this is. Um, I do really like the. Thank you for the raid! Hi, raiders! I'm Bloom. We're doing just a little silly stream today, but I'm usually an MMO, art, and cozy game streamer. No, except my love and affection. If you need to go and, uh, if you need to go and take care of yourself, please do so. Make sure you drop a follow before you leave, though. It would be really appreciated. We're trying to get to 150 followers. How is your stream? What were you streaming? Let me give you a shout out. Hold on. You go take a nap. Ooh, Power Wash Simulator. That's actually one of my favorites. I need to do that on stream sometime. Okay. So let's go back to this. Ooh. Okay, so I do worry. These are made out of cardboard, correct? Let me make sure I'm correct. Yeah, it looks like they're made out of cardboard sandwiched within foam. So this is something that I'm going to be very careful about how I talk about it. There are some creators right now that are making, fursuits out of cardboard. And they look really good. I will say, they're not going to they're not going to stand up against the, like, the sands of time and just use. They're going to be very temporary. But what people don't usually talk about is when you have cardboard and it gets wet, what happens? It degrades. Well, you're sweating, you're getting this cardboard wet. It'll probably dry out. However, if it doesn't, and you live in like a hot climate like the South, or if you live in an area where there's a lot of rain like the Pacific Northwest, you run the risk of the humidity affecting the cardboard and causing mold. The last thing you want in your fursuit is black mold. I have had to clean black mold out of a suit before, and it was not pretty. I had to like completely fumigate my office. It was horrible. I had like terrible sickness and allergies for like a week. It was awful. But I will say, if you're using it for like fursuit glasses like this isn't going to be touching your skin. So I think that this is going to be okay. I think in applications where the cardboard is sandwiched in between foam, and you don't live in a climate where it's hot and humid or rainy, then you're gonna be fine. Also, great music taste.
Oh my God, what the fuck? I look good, I look good, I look delicious. I look like a fucking busted up
Yeah.
radiator.
Oh my god. Everyone starts with a fursuit base like that. You just get better over time. And also, if you have the access to Etsy, they have patterns for fursuit heads. So you can get a pattern and trace that onto your foam, and it just looks a lot cleaner. Um, I think that I think we all it's a rite of passage for fursuit makers to have like one or two bad well, quote, bad bases. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, that's smart. Okay, so um I do like the idea of using smaller pre-made pieces of tape. Um Something that a lot of people struggle with whenever they're making a duct tape dummy is they're using these big swaths of tape, just big lengths of tape. Um, I feel like that's rushing things. Um, and if you're making a full body duct tape dummy, yeah, you're gonna want to rush things. But um, I think taking your time, having pre-made duct tape pieces and doing like little bitty ones and overlapping them, that's going to get you a lot better of a um an end product. You're not going to have like random little wrinkles where the duct tape didn't lay properly. I also really like the idea of using expo marker, dry erase marker for the markings and your registration marks, uh, and then using Sharpie over top of it. However, um, doing so does risk the um it does risk that you might lose your registration marks over time if you're doing a really complex duct tape dummy that's, you know, um gonna be touched a lot. I think you run the risk of losing your registration marks and having to start over, or um you know, but that's I think it's a good idea. I think if you're careful where your hands are laying on the fursuit head, that's a good idea. Also, that eye shape was really cute.
How I make fursuit braids with fox fur.
Ooh.
I start with 3 strips of different shades of my main color. Using the exact same color will make it look like a blob. I then violently brush the backing. This will cause the fur to pop out of both sides, making easy double-sided fur.
So this was actually a thing that was starting to become a this was a tactic that was starting to be used whenever I was almost out of being a fursuit maker. So I do wonder how the longevity and the durability of the fur is whenever the little fur shards are on each side. 'Cause like that's not how the manufacturer designed it, right? I do wonder if anybody has any idea the durability of pieces of fur that have the little lengths drawn out to the other side.
I then stitch the tops together. I used a blanket stitch, since it'll be hidden with a ladder stitch when attached. Now you have 3 hair-like strands. Make sure to ray brush both sides and braid the way you would on regular hair.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Messy at first. Brush it and gently shave each bubble. Wrap the ends together with strong thread and cover it with your material of choice.
So that's let me go back. That's a lot of like precision shaving. This is not something that I would recommend a newbie do. Cuz you're going to have to shave every single little bubble that you see on the braid. You can see a couple of them, I feel like. Either it's the lighting or whatever, they might have gotten it a little bit too close. You don't see, like, the bubble as much as you do down here. I really like the little bubble. Yeah.
Thread and cover it with your material of choice. Attach with a ladder stitch and done.
I also do wonder, how much weight does one of those braids have? Because, that could, really influence how you have to attach the braid onto the head. A ladder stitch may not be good enough for that. Whoa! Hold on! I looked away for 2 seconds. They used thermal pen! That's so smart! Oh my god, I don't know why my mind's blown. I don't know why I didn't think about that whenever I was making. Yeah, see, your lining is going to be on the outside because your paw is inside out. And then, yeah, you absolutely have to pray to God that, your seams don't pop whenever you're, turning the, wow. Oh, those are so well made! I love how detailed suits are getting nowadays. It used to be back whenever I was, making, nobody did the detailed suits. If you had a detailed character, good luck. Nobody does it. But I feel like creators are getting a lot more creative and, like, branching out. And I love that. I love that. I actually really liked doing the detailed characters. So, yeah. Oh, those are so pretty. Red flag! Red flag. Let's watch, but I would not recommend using heat to somebody who is new to fursuit making. Okay. So I was right. Big red flag. Even if you're using gentle heat on fur fabric, um, you can see, like, up in here, specifically, there's a little bit of heat damage to the fibers. Where you can see down here, not so much heat hit it, so it's looking a little bit straighter. It's not looking as, like, crinkly and wrinkly. Um, I I don't recommend using heat at all for um for fabric, especially long pile fur fabric. Um it can be done, but the danger of ruining your fabric is way too high. I do not recommend it. Even if you're using a gentle heat, if you're using the lowest heat setting on your hair dryer, I don't think it's worth it. What you want to do is, if you have wrinkles in your fur fabric, fresh out of the box from the factory, what you want to do is you want to, so you get a coat hanger, right? And you get some clips, like little, what are they called? Like clothespins. Um, and you're gonna clip the fabric all the way along the length at the top of the, uh, um, clothes hanger. Why can't I remember words right now? um, so you want to use as many clothespins as possible, because gravity is going to work in your favor. Um, Fur fabric, if you've ever worked with it, is very, very heavy. Um, so the gravity will help you get some of the wrinkles out of the backing, and the gravity will also, if you go ahead and brush the um uh fur down towards the ground, then you're going to end up having less wrinkles in the little fibers as well. Um, I do recommend, if you do that, you can mist the fabric. Or I don't want to say use a steamer, but no, I wouldn't say use a steamer. I steamed fabric, but I don't feel like the average person starting out making fursuits is going to be able to uh handle the heat tolerance of fur fabric. But yeah, you want to use gravity to your advantage. So you want to clip the fabric uh, at the clothes hanger level, uh, with the pile facing downwards. So, like, the way that you would brush your fabric, you want the pile facing downwards. So you're brushing with the grain of the fabric. Yeah, like the texture isn't terrible. You can barely tell that it's heat damaged, but it is heat damaged. Let's go on to our second one. This is a bit of a longer one. This may be our last one. I could yap about this for hours, by the way. I have to stop eventually. I'm gonna have to edit this.
When we're old and have to leave the earth, I still remember
Okay, so, right off the bat, they're making this fursuit for their little sister. I want to know how old this person is. Because, a lot of fursuit makers won't make, fursuits for, children because they're still growing. It's a lot of wasted effort. If your kid hits a growth spurt, and suddenly their fursuit head doesn't fit anymore. Like, yeah, if you're a maker, you could make another one, but it's that's why a lot of makers don't accept clients who are under the age of 18. I actually know what pattern this is. I think that's a Kloof Suits pattern, isn't it? I could be wrong. I haven't done this in a long time, but I believe that's the big cat for Kloof Suits pattern. I actually used to use that. Using extra scraps of fabric to secure the ears on is a very good idea. That's one of the easiest places to have your fursuit fail is the ears because even if you're being careful, even if your friends are being gentle with you, your ears are gonna pop off. I guarantee you within the first year of use.
Making my first fursuit, part 1, the bucket head. First I measure out 1/2 and foam as long as the circumference of my head plus 3 inches. Then I have to make a couple of markings. And cut.
Okay.
Then it's time to test the fit. Glue together. Had to redo the face markings because
Oh no! I've done that before.
making mouth-and-eye holes on the smaller side to leave room for error. Now I need to make the strips for the top of the bucket head. Glue foam. The smaller strips too. Glue the strips to the cylinder. It ends up like a t-shirt. Is it supposed to look this deranged?
Yes. Buckethead bases for fursuits. They do look really deranged. um you can see there's but you can see with bucket heads because you're like purposefully making it to the shape of like your like nose and mouth and your eyes and stuff, you're going to have it a lot more customized than if you were to use a pattern. I do still recommend using a pattern for like the cheeks and the muzzle and the no, you can probably make the forehead without one, but like still.
I ended up making it a good bit shorter, and now it fits my head perfectly. Side view law.
Hi Sushimi. Welcome in.
How it feels to accept base-only commissions.
Give me a pizza with extra cheese.
Extra cheese.
And hold the tomato sauce.
Hold the tomato sauce.
And hold the crust.
Hold the crust. Hey, Jimmy, give me a cheese with nothing. Nothing?
That's so true. It's actually a little bit rude to ask a fursuit maker, "Hey, can you just make me the base and I'll fur it myself, I'll finish it myself." Just because you don't like their pricing. There are some makers that make bases. You can go with one of those, but not every maker wants to make bases. I am one of those people. I didn't like to make bases because I cannot control how the finished product looks. I hope your chores went well. And I hope your day's going well.
I'm a professional fursuit maker, and a walkthrough of making a suit start to finish. So of course a great start, I forgot to show the head base, but I do have a pattern for that on my Etsy at Sheenatude. But I cut out 6 pieces of my muzzle pattern. I use 1-inch pieces, so that's 6 inches wide. And then I'm just using a regular box cutter snap blade and carving around the muzzle pieces to kind of get my desired shape.
Okay.
So here you can see I've done half of it already, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the other half now. I also like adding the bridge of the nose before attaching to the head base. It's just personal preference, honestly. But yeah, I go ahead and try to make the other side as symmetrical as I can. Definitely a lot of going back, staring at it, seeing if I like it. And here I'm patterning the nose. I just put duct tape on and kind of draw the shape of the nose out and put a little piece of 1/2-inch foam on it. And then here we go, just gluing it straight onto the head base. So now I'm just going to start patterning the cheeks. I prefer using duct tape, just personal preference. And I do the first layer on 1-inch foam and glue it on by itself just so I can make sure everything stays symmetrical. And then again, patterning the last 2 layers, 1-inch foam as well. So we got a total of 3 inches on the cheeks. And then after everything is glued, I'm going to use those box cutter blades and start carving away. I'm constantly going back and forth to make sure everything looks symmetrical on these cheeks, and now we're doing the eyebrows. I've already got my own pattern for the eyebrows, so I just cut those out, smooth them over, and then we're going to do the back of the eyebrows.
Yeah, they probably do spend 7 hours on the base of the face. I know mine usually took about 5.
And then of course I start measuring how long and wide
My guess is they probably spend even more than 7.
And glue it to the base. Then I go ahead and pattern kind of the jaw around the mouthpiece and glue those on, and then I add a small 1/2-inch bit to kind of help smooth things over. Of course, cut things down with the box cutter blades. And here I am just really...
Okay, I love how they did this shape. The little dimple of the mouth. Love it.
Checking on the symmetry, I take it away to check in the mirror. That's a really good way to check your symmetry. And kind of carving out any imperfections I see. And I already do have a pattern for the type of ear I want to use, so I just go ahead and...
I would be interested to know why their eye bases. These are eye blanks, by the way. They are usually made of plastic or resin. Why their eye base has these little notches. I wonder, is it like a part of their art style or something? Are these like custom? I don't know. It doesn't look bad. I'm just curious as to why it's there.
Cut that out. It's really easy if you just cut out 1 inch from a 1-inch block of foam and cut it in half, then you have 2 perfectly symmetrical ears. So I pin them down, make sure they're in a symmetrical spot, and then I go ahead and glue them on to the head base. Next, I'm just going to use some duct tape and pattern the cheek fluff. Again, just using 1-inch foam and cutting it in half. And now we begin taping. This character is asymmetrical, so you see that I tape the entire nose, but then only the right side of the head. That's just because the only asymmetrical part of the head...
Again, we're using very small pieces of duct tape, and then she used bigger pieces to the back.
I kind of need to see where
I feel like that's really good practice.
Just roughly tracing out the pattern with a pen first, and then I'll go over it with a marker to kind of get the foreshore lines that I want. And I make sure to use different color markers so I can...
Oh, they're using Posca pens. That's actually really smart. I do wonder how Posca would withstand being on the outside of duct tape, which is shiny. It's kind of slick. I don't know if the Posca would adhere to it. I could be wrong.
The first part of making
I'd be
everything
interested
that
in
is
knowing.
done. I will post part 2 when the fur is done, and I'll show you how to put that on.
I don't know if it was a lion or not.
A common question
Oof.
I get is, how do you do eye LEDs? Well, I made a tutorial for that. I now have a Ko-fi and I'm offering exclusive work in progresses and tutorials that nobody else will see. My LED eye tutorial is quite comprehensive. It is text-based, but I made a video to complement it.
Okay, so right off the bat, love how they used foam for the beak. Something that I like to advocate for is safety with your costumes and your fursuits. So something that a lot of makers don't think about is, you're putting this hard, rigid thing right here for like a beak, right? Well, what happens if that person trips and falls right on their face? You're gonna end up getting you're gonna end up getting cut. You could have your beak shatter. I actually personally had a skull head. Thank you for the follow. um, I had a skull head, and somebody tackled me to the ground at a con. It was someone who was a fan of me, and they just didn't know personal space. It was a whole thing, but I'll talk about that at another time. Maybe I'll do like a con horror stories video. But anyways, I actually had that resin, that hard plastic jut into my throat, my windpipe, and it cut off my breathing. I had breathing issues for like a week afterwards. Um so I think if you can go ahead and do um like foam or even Eva foam is fine for the for anything that's going to be on your head. Of course I didn't die. um if you can go ahead and do foam or Eva foam on anything that is going to be on your head, that's going to be a lot better than it is resin. Yeah, I know.
And it's available to anybody in the £5 tier or above. If you're interested, please head to my link tree. Anybody in £10 and above tiers will receive a welcome package as well, including a bunch of merch items I think are pretty cool. I'm really excited to make more exclusive content there.
Okay, so it looks like they're making one of those dino mask fursuits, which are cool. Those were just coming out whenever I started. So I stopped being a fursuit maker, one, because I have personal issue when people are overly picky with fursuits, especially if I have a lot of, like reference images saying, this is my style, this is the type of fursuits that I can make, and they commission me, and then they go, oh, but I want this, this, and this, things that I don't do. That happened very frequently, unfortunately, and it's really, it's not good. You really shouldn't do that as a client. You need to find a maker that can do the things that you're looking for. And also I am physically disabled now. Putting in like 5 hours of work is like somebody who is able putting in putting in like 8 hours of work, right? So because of the time it took for me to recover from a day of work, and the fact that I was constantly having like self-doubts and stuff because people were always like bashing my work, it really, it's, I don't want to say I don't want to say that the fursuit community is bad, but I do think that it has issues that it can do better with. Maybe it has over time. I don't know. I haven't been in since, like I said, 2019. Um, like which ones I've made? I can probably grab them. Um, so I need to go to I'll need to grab the pictures. Um, what was her name? Okay, I could just find it in my own photos. So there were two main ones that I made for other people on commission. And then there were two that I made for myself that now belong to other people. And then there's another one that I kind of fixed up for myself. Let's see. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, I have POTS, which is an issue with my heart. I have stage 2 hypertension, which is another issue with my heart. Fibromyalgia and potentially Ehlers-Danlos. I'm working on getting a diagnosis for that. Yeah. I need to get those pictures. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of scrolling to find them. Have you ever had one? It's gonna be before my Final Fantasy stuff. Okay, so I actually made quite a few more than I thought I did. This is one of them. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, it's taking me longer than I thought it would to find these. Oh, it refreshed my, I have to re-scroll. Well, I found 2 of them out of the 3 that I wanted to show. Potentially 4. I should have grabbed these before I started stream, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to show my fursuits or not. Because it could potentially dox me. It's okay, I really don't care that much. Okay, so. Browsing for images. This is the first one that I made. This is my personal fursuit, that I used to have. She belongs to somebody else now. No, you're good. I was finding, images. So this is my first one that I made. It was made using a base. Yeah, her name was Alex. And that was before I refurbished her. This is after refurbishment. Oh. You can see I, like, replaced the eye mesh and stuff. And I did, like, a new mohawk, and I gave her little horns and stuff. Yeah. If I could remake it today, there's a lot I'd be doing differently, like the horn placement, and yeah. I think I actually did end up changing the horn placement at one point. And then this is the first commission that I did. I don't know if he's still on TikTok. He used to be pretty big on TikTok. Is a friend of mine. If he's still using the suit, I kind of want to do a refurbish for him. Because that was, like, almost, 10 years ago. He probably needs it. And then this is an Umbreon that I did. Yeah. This one, there was a lot of technical issues that I had to fix. So it's not the greatest quality, but, like, it's cute. Yeah. And then I'll show you one more. This is one that I ended up, this was my first time using Minky for, like, the full head. And you can see there's, like, puckers and wrinkles and stuff. I wasn't happy with it. But he was a Sphinx cat, so it, like, worked for him, right? His name was Jericho. He was a good boy. I kind of regret giving him away. I would have loved to keep him around. But it is what it is. Yeah, he is very cute. It kind of looks like a mannequin, honestly. I don't know if they still make mannequins. Really? Oh, nice! I would love to see your mannequin. If you want to join my Discord. There we go. There's places to put artwork. That's okay. You don't need to have one. Ooh! Oh, did you see that glow up? Hold on. Let me go back. Okay, so you can see the nose is kind of like not poorly sewn on, but it could be better. The eyes don't really have a ridge around them, so there's no eyeliner. Which isn't a problem, but eyeliner does kind of make the character pop a little bit more. And the muzzle especially, I saw just a huge improvement with the muzzle. The fur is shaved so much better than this. See? Even adding the little, eyelids did so much for it, but, like, oh my gosh, that is so much better. Good job.
Attention, fursuit maker. You hate doing the ladder stitch on the mouth? Here's how I avoid it. Make sure your face, lining, and neck, back of head are all separate pieces. Then line up and sew together the mouth from behind. Then line up and sew together the bottom of the neck fur and bottom of the lining. And flip everything inside out. You should have a long chain of pieces going from neck to lining connected via the bottom, and lining to face connected via mouth. Next, you grab the face and stuff it through the mouth hole on the foam head, and fit everything onto the head, and tada. Then just finish
Yeah,
up
that makes sense.
usual by sewing up the back of the head and adding details.
Oh my god, those eyes are so cute. Ah! They're so cute! I love when people do 2D eyes. They do not do 2D eyes enough. Ah. When fursuits actually started being more of a mainstream thing, that's all they had was 2D eyes. Now there's so many people with like follow me eyes and stuff, and they're good, but I feel like there's this toony quality to having the 2D eyes. Also, I really love her little whisker mark is a heart. Very cute. Um, yeah. No notes.
You can always just disintegrate me with water.
Oh, this is actually something I wanted to talk about a little bit. So there's a thing now that we didn't have back whenever I was a maker called sublimation printing. You can tell this isn't painted. The eye, the iris and like the pupil and the little shine spots, they are all sublimation printed. There we go. I can talk. Basically that just makes a cleaner look. You can tell that it's sublimation printing though, so some people don't like it. And it's not really accessible to everyone. You can, however, get it ordered. Um, there's companies that'll print it for you. Yeah, that's about it. Um, I like how it looks, but I know that some people prefer the painted look. Ooh, I really like the fabric choice they used for the horns. Not only does it just look nice, it adds a lot of visual contrast to like um the fur texture. That's just good character design. You can just put your ref sheet in let me see. The post your art channel. And let me know whenever you have it uploaded and I'll go look at it. Ooh. I really like the shape of um the eyeliner. It's a little thick right here for my liking, but that's my personal preference. I really like this eyelash coming off this direction. Um, yeah, this is really cute. Um, let me look. Aww, your mannequin is so cute. I love how detailed they are. Okay, I'm glad that they fixed that because the teeth were crooked and I noticed and I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Be nice. I really like the color
One of the parts of being a fursuit maker that people don't
I like
see
the
is
color
after the
ways they
fursuit's
had on that.
finished. In this video, you're watching me prepare a goodie bag for the pre-made that I just finished. This includes a canvas pouch to put everything in, a badge which you're watching me cut right now, there's a sewing kit in there, a brush, all the little extras that go along with the suit. I also packed some stuff for the client themselves, like a keychain, some stickers, pins, things like that. I do at one point want to make like a proper care booklet for my suits, but we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, it's really good if you're especially if you're a beginner maker to make a little care package for your client. It's just nice. I usually made a care package for my clients. It was like less than $20. Go to Dollar Tree, get like a little slicker brush. Um yeah, that kind of stuff. And it's really appreciated because you never know. Um I can't tell you how many times I have watched an unboxing and the person is like, "Oh, I don't have a brush. Whoops." And then their first photos are going to look bad because they weren't brushed, right? Um so just adding a brush into the box is a really cheap way to uh help your client get like better pictures of your hard work. Um Also candy. I add candy with all of my with all of my coffee uh packages. Hello, Raiders. Thank you, Ramen. Yeah. Let's go ahead and give you a shout out. Ramen Tonos. How are you doing, friend? I hope you're having a good day. Ooh, you're playing Kingdom Hearts? Nice. I need to get to Kingdom Hearts eventually. I want the big, I want the big package of, like, the Kingdom Hearts games before I start. But anyways, uh, we're doing something new and interesting today. I'm an ex-fursuit maker, so we're talking about like the new tactics of making fursuits and like how they differ from whenever I was making fursuits. I'm usually in I'm usually an art and MMO and cozy game VTuber. Ah, nice.
Giving my fursuit a squeaker nose. First, let's hollow out the nose. Perfect. Now to add the squeak. You can order a big bag of squeakers online. Let's test the squeak. Perfect.
Yeah, squeakers are a really good way to add interest and like individuality into your fursuit. And they're really cheap. They genuinely are. You can get like a bag of 20 of them on Amazon for like $10. Or you used to be able to. I don't know if you still can.
Squeaky, 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 squeaky.
Think, oh, should we leave it alone? Should we back off? Should we play it?
Ooh, that's a really well-made deer tail.
Get bigger!
Ooh, that was nice.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way.
Ooh, what? Go back. I went back too far. That is so cool. They used like a helmet system for this. Doing that, we did talk a little bit about you know, the harm of having hard things in a fursuit head. But because this is on the back of your head, I think it's not going to be as much of an issue. Um Especially with the fact that it's meant to be a helmet, right?
My god, no way.
There's Velcro adjustments too. Nice.
The video that you're watching is a slight bit longer than usual, just because if I were to speed this up any more than I already have, it would be completely incoherent. At this point, I am begging Instagram and YouTube to allow for longer shorts and reels, because when I eventually upload this video there, it's going to make absolutely no sense with how fast I'm going to have to speed it up.
I remember that. I was a TikTok creator whenever I was a fursuit maker. And I remember having to like plan out how I was going to cut my content. And there was parts that were like watched more than others, and so it just got really confusing. I hope they fixed that issue.
I am working on this fursuit's ears. This is about 4 hours of footage condensed down to 2 minutes. As you can tell, if you've seen some of my previous time lapses, I have changed the camera angle slightly. I'm not going to talk about this for too long because every time that I try, it ends up being like a minute and a half of me just talking about really boring stuff. So I'm just going to limit this to this. I changed it because my lighting was really bad. I couldn't change it for the whole time though, partly because I
Nice.
needed to use my sewing machine and I wouldn't be able to see anything that's going on at that
Yeah, I'm
angle.
glad that
Partly because
they make it 5 minutes now.
keeps blocking the camera.
I only do shorts on YouTube, so I wasn't sure.
How lovely these colors are together. I am absolutely obsessed with the color combination that we have gone for this project. I am using mint and sea foam from Big Z.
I have things to say about Big Z. I have things to say. Oh my god. So they were my main distributor for fabric for a long time. I stopped using them because uh how do I put this nicely? I'm gonna get canceled by Big Z. um they they would ship me fabric that was like already dirty. They would ship me fabric that had like tears in it and like poorly cut edges. Um and like it was dirty. I mean, it had like engine grease on it. It was so gross. I had to get I had to like talk to customer support and like get it replaced, and they were like, "Oh, well, um uh fabric cuts are final like sale. Like you can't return it. You can't get a new one." And I'm just like, "Okay, I'm going to stop using you then. Bye." So I did. I don't remember who I switched to. But it wasn't Big Z.
And latte from Howl Fabrics. It's kind of an unusual combination with the latte. I wouldn't have thought about using it if I
Those
wasn't
are really
working
pretty
on this
colors
commission.
though. I'm gonna
It is
admit.
such a lovely combination, and I am so excited to start working on the face because of this. I'm usually not the biggest fan of greens, but there's something about these colours that is just so pleasing to the eye. I cannot express to you just how excited I am to continue working on this project.
It's like mermaid vibes. Those colors.
Whoever asked me how I attach cheek floof to my paper fursuit heads, I just grabbed a piece of paper.
Oh, we were just talking about this. See the paper fursuit heads. I think they look really cool. I think that if you're doing it for like 2 or 3 videos and then having it like mounted on your wall, that's fine. But I don't feel like using a paper fursuit for long term is smart. Um just mainly because uh how do I put it? Like we talked about like the degradation of the materials, right? Um and the humidity of where you live and like how rainy it is where you live. It can affect the humidity as well. And like the last thing you want is your creation to mold. You don't want that. I think it's just better to save up your money and just get upholstery foam. There we go. And some fabric and make a fursuit head the right way. Well, not the right way, but like the traditional way.
Like this, use a pencil to trace where the edge of his cheek laid. But I literally just traced like this, and then I drew the template. So you have the cheek flip going out. This was the template, and I just taped it on originally just to make sure it like fit how I wanted to.
Like, look at that. That looks so cool.
Line it up. I usually hold it, and just tape it on the back. I don't know. It's not like too complicated. And then I'll tape it, or I'll take it and tape it right here, like inside the head, because that's how far it goes. And then I'll usually tape it on the back side as well. And anywhere else that it is coming off, because this part didn't get taped very well.
Something that I would do, especially if you're using something that I would do, especially if you're using this piece for like anything with a camera, is I would not use the glossy Scotch tape. I would not use packing tape. I would use something with a matte finish. And the reason behind that is because what if you're, you know, moving around a lot and your tape shows? And having matte tape, I feel like, will make your paper fursuit look better. especially if you're using a camera with flash.
That's what I do. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, thank you.
Draw out your pattern.
Yeah, no, I think that that paper fursuit looked really good. Like, I just worry about the safety of having it long term.
Around a tracing, leaving room for the seams. This is so fur doesn't get cut bluntly. Flip the pattern and
because like I used to be a refurbisher of fursuits after I stopped being a maker. So I would refurbish fursuits that other people had made. And I have seen a lot of things. I have seen a lot of things with mold. You do not want mold in your suit. And I feel like having your suit made out of paper is just gonna make it mildew and mold more likely.
Now you have both sides. Keep doing this for all the rest of her pieces.
Okay, so I'm going to actually add something to this. There's going to be a lot of stress at these pieces, these little joints, where there's like a point. What you want to do is you want to do a little snip right there and release the tension. For a tail, probably fine. But if you were doing this for anything else, like if it was like a face piece or something, you would want to snip to release that tension.
Line them up the way they will be sewn together.
Also trans pride tail. I want it.
The further opposite direction of the seam you will sew. Pin or clip the two pieces together and sew.
Oh, these are actually really cool. I didn't have these when I was a maker because I had been sewing for years and years and years and years, and I knew how to use pins appropriately. These are really good for newbie makers. They also don't really leave that much of a hole like pins do sometimes.
Repeat for the rest until you have it to halves. Sew along the edges. Remember to comb the fur away from the seams first. Now fill with stuffing. Cut a piece of foam for the base. Cut out a circle of fabric. Sew on the loop for a belt. Line the loop horizontally with the way the tail will hang and sew. Now you have a fursuit tail.
So, I do like this tail, like the shape of it and everything. If the person wants it to be a little bit bouncy at the base, that's perfect. But if you want it to sit more naturally, you're gonna want to actually, let me see if I can get a better angle. You're gonna want to actually make the base
For a belt.
You're actually gonna want to make the base like right down here instead of right here. It's gonna sit flush with your spine. Yeah. But if you do it right here, physics and gravity are just gonna make it more bouncy, I guess.
Horizontally with the way the tail will hang and sew. Now you have a fursuit tail.
It's just preference.
Everyone looks awful from underneath. You need to go
high. Ooh, I like that pink duct tape, actually.
Pretty.
Ooh! Hold on.
Now you have a fursuit tail.
No, I went back too far. Sorry.
Everyone looks awful from underneath. You need to go high. Look.
Ugly.
Pretty.
Look at that color! That color is so pretty. I've never seen fursuit fur, or they call it, what do they call it? They call it like party fur or something like that. Yeah, I've never seen fursuit fur this like density of color. This like saturated blue. I love it.
Hey.
I wonder if it was custom. It might have been. Yeah, I talked a little bit about this before, but the amount of things you can do with magnets, it's crazy. I used rare earth magnets for all of my attachments. So like if you had a hair fluff, that would be on a rare earth magnet. Uh eyelids. This one had ears that attached on different directions. Um, tongues. It's really good for that. There's a lot you can do with magnets. That's such a cute expression. Yeah, you see how strong those magnets are? Oh, that's another thing. If you're starting out as a fursuit wearer, you want to have, fursuit spray. Uh, like, using Febreze isn't good enough. You have to have a fursuit spray. Usually those are mostly alcohol with like a couple drops of a scent. Um and those scents are usually tested um to make sure that they don't like ruin the lining of your suit. And the fact that it's made out of mostly alcohol means that it evaporates quickly. It takes all of the well, most of the moisture from when you sweated out of the backing um and takes it with it. I'm probably only gonna do like maybe another 10 minutes, 20 minutes. What is going on here? Oh! Hold on. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what was going on here. They actually hollowed out the cheek. They got rid of the cheek and they put mesh here in like a convex way so that it has more airflow. Because we talked about airflow and how that can make you less likely to less or more likely to wear your fursuit for a long period of time. That's really cool. This is actually the kind of mesh that we used to use back in the day for iMesh. You can see how huge the holes are. So it didn't work very well. The mesh they use nowadays for eyes is stereo mesh. So like the stuff that you'd put on a speaker. Having a chill version of this song is kind of wild, I'm not gonna lie. uh... Nice. Ooh, that is some really good shaving, like right up in here. And up this direction too. Very nice shaving. It's kind of like a Deadpool Doberman, honestly.
So fursuit eyes are a bit different, and because I hand-made this base, I have to hand-make the pattern for the eyes. And you can do this if you're refurbing or making your own too. And so I just take a piece of paper, my trusty paper, and I go ahead and make the shape. And this one's a little chaotic, so I end up going back and making it look a little prettier. It just kind of helped my brain put it in the right perspective. And then I have one of these wonderful little circle doodads that I picked up from the thrift store, but it works great. And then I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to some cross-stitch material. I believe it is 11 count, and it just is much stiffer than buckram and easier to see in. And here I tried to kind of try to do what West Custom Creations does, where she does these beautiful gradient paintings for her eyes. I'm not nearly as good as she is, so if you're curious, go and check out her channel. She's a great maker with a really unique style. But I'm just going to show you guys how I like to paint my eyes too. I'm also a painter as well, so I'm very familiar with using brushes. It can be a little tricky with me sometimes because I have those hand tremors, so I am not super symmetrical. So I'll go in and use a Posca marker, and that helps me define some edges, and I can kind of go ham and not worry about it as much. And you can paint your eyes however you want. I like to use a darker color for the iris. I don't like to use black because I feel it just kind of like takes all the color away. And instead I'll use a contrasting color like purple, see the purple at the bottom there, to darken and bring out the shadow or the shade.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that makes
I like
sense.
to add some little highlights here. Again, the Posca marker, it just feels like I have more control. It is easier to keep things clean and as symmetrical as possible for me personally. And then I'll go in with a heavy body acrylic white, and that will really kind of lay on the little eye shines. And then for this, I'm just going to go ahead and...
I really like how soft the gradient method made the color look.
1/8 like thin sheet plastic. I got it years ago, and it's just lasted me like crazy. So you can kind of find it at any like plastic supply distributor. And then I'll use my tiny scissors to kind of cut everything out because of my hand tremors. It gives me a little more control that way. And I'll do it for both. And then the edges on the inside can be a little lumpy sometimes. That's just normal. So what I'll do is I'll take the X-Acto knife and very carefully pull it to kind of get those little lumps out.
Yeah, X-Acto knives are so handy with with fursuit making. But you have to be very careful with them. They are blades.
Hot glue. I'm going to glue one side down. Just be careful, it's really hot. So I use
Ooh, yeah, that looks really good.
To mitigate that. And then I'll go ahead and peel that back and apply the hot glue on the rest of it. And place it down. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other eye, and be sure to follow along for part 2 and any other kind of fursuit making tips and tricks I end up making.
The way she described her her art style for eyes is kind of similar to my art style when I'm drawing eyes now.
Head back to be able to travel safely with Starberry. Fully lined with a zipper. Webbing reinforced adjustable strap. It turned out so thick.
I wanted one of those for my fursuit.
Making my personal fursuit a breakfast puppy, Butter, Part 1. Cute drippy tongue with hard tail.
Ooh! I love that tongue! What? That's so cool! It's got like an embroidered heart in it and little drippies. Oh my god, it's so cute! I love the shape of the head too. It's so unusual. I love it! I do like the mohawk. I would love to see how it looks finished. Because you're gonna lose a lot of that definition with fur. Here's this person again. They're very talented with facial shape. Yeah, they kind of do remind me of helmets from Dark Souls, huh? Like the bucket heads. Silly. Oh my god, I love it! The giant eye, oh my god. I love monster suits so much. Oh my god, that is so cute! What? Just the character design alone is so cute. Like, look at the colors and the... Oh my god! I'm feral. I am obsessed.
Quit. Don't quit. Noodles.
Yeah, it's so hard to turn out fursuit paws. Ugh. So difficult. Oh my god. These are really pretty paws, by the way. The amount of detail people put into paws nowadays. When usually that used to be like the cheapest thing. You just throw them together and be done.
This is part 2 of how I make my digi feet paws. Here I'm just starting out by gluing on the back of the calf to the base of the
Ooh. That's actually really smart.
Then move on to adding the side panels by lining them up with the base of the feet paws and then gluing along the edge of the calf piece.
Yeah, those big ears were really cute, huh?
This is the part where I add in my lining, as at this stage of making it's easy to get access to the shoe on the inside. And I attach these pieces just by gluing around the top of the shoe and pressing on the fabric. You don't have to line your feet paws, it's just a personal preference, but for my commissions I always line my feet paws and my hand paws as well, just for added comfort and just makes it look more professional as well. For the lining fabric I use neoprene. outside toes. And then after that, I glue in this front panel here just to glue the
Oh
sides
my
together.
god,
This is where
that's
you can
so
kind of see the
cool.
come to life. We're gluing these pieces
And that's
down
so much lighter than what you usually think of as a digitigrade stompy paw.
Once all of that is glued in place, I like to now round out the back of the foot just to give it a nicer shape. For this part, I'm just adding in a front wedge above the toes. I just feel like this gives it a better transition shape, and
Sure.
it also covers up a few holes in between each toe as well.
Oh wow.
This part requires a lot of holding down while the glue is drying, as these pieces really want to pull apart from each other. Once that's all done, I then give it a final trim up just to round everything out and make it a nice shape.
Back whenever I made fursuits, a lot of people wouldn't do digitigrade fursuits because there was really not a lot of good information about how to do it. So it was kind of just, you know, YouTube tutorials, usually not the greatest ones, and figuring it out on your own. This looks so much easier than what we used to do.
Better transition shape into the thighs after I do the bodysuit. And there we go. These are my finished feet paws. These are ready for patterning now, and I will be covering that.
Oh, this looks so good.
Remus's sleepy eyelids don't have any mesh in them, so I can't actually see through them. I'm not 100% blind in the suit though, as I have mouth vision. Now, the mouth vision isn't great. I have a very small range of vision, but it is enough to be able to get from location to location if you're doing a photo shoot or if you are making a video. So the answer is yes, but not very well.
Fair. Oh, that's so cool looking. I really like the embroidered detail. That's really good. That's a really good addition. I love how they did the piercing. Yeah, that's really cool. Oh my god, that's so cute! That head shape is so cute, and the eye. Oh my god! I'm having cute aggression. Oh, that's so cute. I love the heart-shaped pupils. One of the things that I used to, one of the times that I used to get hate for, whenever I was a maker was, I had, like, differently shaped pupils. That was just, like, my art style, and there were some people who really liked them, so I kept them around. I liked them personally, and I wish I hadn't changed it to try and make people happy. I really do. So if you have, like, a defining part of your art style that you really like, don't change it for anyone, please. I beg you. I don't know what time that message was. I'm sorry. I wish I could be more help. I don't have timestamps.
One of the things that I don't ever see myself learning to machine sew is hand paw fingers.
Oh, we already watched this one.
Almost automatic after you've done them long enough. Practice makes perfect does seem like a tired phrase at this point, but it does ring true.
Oh no, that's the worst.
Just love the taste of nothing.
When your bobbin runs out, that basically means that you're, okay, so the way a, sewing machine works is you have your top thread, and then you have your bobbin that is at the bottom. The top thread catches the bottom thread. So if you, run out of bobbin thread, well, guess what? Your stitches aren't gonna stay. So sometimes you'll be stitching, and you won't realize, oh, your bobbin thread ran out, and oh, now you have to re-sew that entire section. It's the worst. It's the literal worst. Anyways, I think I'm gonna stop streaming. Oop. I'm gonna stop streaming. Yeah, my grandma taught me too. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm gonna go ahead and do my end card. Thank you to Vinay, Phoenix, and Ramen for being coffee members. Coffee memberships are the best way to help me right now. They help me pay the bills. That money is immediate and monthly. The cheapest plan right now is $2 a month. It just kind of works like Patreon, but I choose to use coffee. So, yeah. You get perks like seeing work in progress photos. You get to come to movie nights with us if you do tiers 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, let's see who we're gonna raid. We are going to raid. And if anybody, sorry, if nobody has told you yet today, I'm happy you're here. You're loved. You're valid. And yeah, be good. Oh, did that not work? I used the wrong thing. There we go. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.